Hey, check 1, 2. Okay, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in. Where we left off last time was with this idea of sattva, finding this sattvic state of being. And in that sattvic state, which is the state of equanimity, balance, the unchanging, unwavering formlessness that is the other side of what it means to be a being of nature. So we have this prakritic nature, which is the physical form, the all things that are changing, all things that are evolving, that are in constant flux. But on the flip side, coexisting with that, we have this purushic state. So purusha is the state of oneness, the state of unchanging, unwavering. And now we have this, we as human beings are living in prakriti. So what the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras is trying to explain to us that in this changing world that we live in of Prakriti, that the mind itself is going to be subject to the rise and fall that I explained last time was the Rajas and the Tamas, the pushing and the pulling. So the mind has these, if you think of the mind, there's this background consciousness, which is like the stillness of a lake. Okay, so you've got this lake, right? And then we have this push and pull of rajas and tamas, the energies of nature that are pushing and pulling at us. And that causes this rise and fall upon the surface of the lake. This is, again, the vrittis, which are the images, the memories, the desires, it's basically everything that our mind does. We have all of the attachments, everything that the human experience is as far as the mind level goes, emotions. This is the reactivity, by the way. This is what's happening on the surface of the lake. The lake itself is stillness, chitta, background consciousness. The waves upon the surface, vritti. And now, what Patanjali suggests is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha is like putting something to a halt, gaining control of, stopping. To nirodha is like the ability to have the discipline to hold on to or to contain, to essentially to stop, to halt. Okay, so we have yoga chitta vritti nirodha, this concept that Patanjali, the compiler of the Yoga Sutras, lays out for us. Yoga is the practices or the uniting. And chitta vritti is this idea of we've got the stillness, and if upon that stillness, the vrittis, the rise and fall, the fluctuations of the mind, if we can control those, then yoga will happen. This uniting, this experience of union or yoking of Purusha and Prakriti. The change is Prakriti, changing, ever changing, while Purusha is this changeless, formless bliss that lies underneath and within all things. It's all pervasive. So within all of us, we have this unchanging, unwavering stillness deep inside of all of us. And on the surface of that stillness exists the constant reactivity, the constant images of the mind, the constant memories. All the mind stuff exists on the surface. So what Patanjali suggests is if you can gain control of the vrittis, gain control of the mind stuff, then you can experience the stillness that exists below the surface of the lake. And that stillness deep inside, or Purusha, is more easily attained, just to bring it back to last class, when we maintain the state of sattva, that state of balance, equanimity. And so in order to maintain the state of balance, Patanjali suggests that we practice abhyasa, which is effortful, repetitive is a key word, repetitive practice. We place our effort to stop the fluctuations of the mind or to gain control of them. In order to, that effort, routine effort, leads to increased attention, and our ability to hold our attention for longer allows us to go below the surface of the vrittis, the rising and falls, and experience that stillness. And we are told from Patanjali that it's easiest to experience that stillness. It's easier to use that strengthening of your attention through abhyasa, this practice, if we are in a sattvic state. If we're in a state of being pushed or pulled by rajas and tamas, again, just forces of nature, then it's very hard to focus our attention and experience the stillness within. So first, he says, practice routinely with the intention of experiencing the stillness. And routinely meaning like, it's not, routinely is kind of sounds like a soft word, I think. It's more like rigorously. Practice rigorously, put effort forth, because otherwise you'll be pushed and pulled and thrown by the ocean waves. So by cultivating our attention through routine practice, through rigorous practice, we actually gain, as we're told, control of the mind and strengthen our attention. And that brings us into that sattvic state, which is very hard for humans to hold on to for a period of time because it requires constant maintenance of the body and the mind. Then from that sattvic state, we can practice meditation, pranayama. We can, so in other words, continue our practice and experience this idea of samadhi. I don't want to call it an idea. It's just it is an experience in itself. It is I guess it's beyond experience, because it's when the mind almost stops experiencing. That's kind of complicated. So let's just get rid of that idea for a second. It's when the mind has this moment of stillness and clarity. It can touch, or we can touch, that stillness within a Purusha. Now, that's the workings of it. But what do we do about it? We practice. But what happens? So if we know to practice, we all know that practicing anything is essential if we want to transform, to expand, to grow. But why don't we practice? Now, there's what really gets into, and the sutras talk about this idea of tapas. Tapas is the friction or the heat when you bring two things together. So if you decide to try to bring these two worlds of Prakriti and Purusha together, this form and formless together, this is the uniting, the yoking, the yoga, okay? If we try to have the part of ourselves that is constant change, if we try to let that merge with this changeless, formless self, so the chaos and the stillness, if we try to bring these together, when you bring any two things together, what happens is a friction. That friction is like a rubbing. So that rubbing creates heat, right? When you rub your palms together, or when you rub two sticks together, it creates a heat. Now, the amateur yogi, when their muscles get tired of rubbing the two sticks together, they would stop. And I used the analogy of sticks, but the amateur yogi, when things start to when the friction heats up, the yogi walks away. This is the amateur, the beginner. So how do you qualify a beginner yogi? One that walks away when things start getting intense. One that walks away, finds excuses, finds reasons, and says, you know what, that was intense, or that's getting intense. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to go to the restroom now. So in the friction is where we can understand our level of yogic practice. Are we advanced or are we beginner? The beginner yogi, when the friction starts to heat up, especially think of the analogy of two sticks rubbing together, it starts to heat up, their muscles get tired from the rubbing, and they say that's enough. The more intermediate hangs on for a little while until there's some smoke that comes out. And at that point, then maybe they walk away. The advanced practitioner waits until that lights up, right? And then fire happens and the transformation happens. And in that fire, when Agni lights up, that's where we have the opportunity to make changes. And it's in that fire for which we see something called our samskaras, which are deep-seated patterns. And then when we can see those, we can make changes. Okay, but it's all about that tapas, the endurance of that friction. Now, the masterful yogi, it's another step even further than that. It's not just the willingness to create the fire, but actually an enjoyment of stepping in again and again and saying, because what happens a lot of times with the advanced yogi is like, oh, I went there and now we're good. I made some changes in my life. I feel better. Life is good. Cool. And then they stop their practice. But one thing about the Yoga Sutras is it tells us is that you're always, so long as you're in this human body, going to be subject to the push and pull of the gunas, the rajas and the tamas. So there's never a time, as long as you're in this human form, that you won't be pushed and pulled by all things in this prakritic world. You won't ever stop forming patterns within you that don't serve you. You won't ever stop forming behavioral reactions that don't serve you. And so the practice is consistent. And so the masterful yogi enjoys showing up to rub the sticks, create the fire over and over again. Enjoys it because the masterful yogi knows that that experience of friction, of heat, intensity, giving way to fire, and fire giving way to transformation is ultimately leading somewhere better. And so they step in again and again. Now, in the physical body in our yoga practice, how you can discern the beginner yogi from the advanced to the masterful yogi. The beginner yogi, when things start heating up physically, muscles start getting strong, they start running away. In yoga, when I used to practice or teach live in classrooms, you can tell when somebody walked into the class that they're going to be a beginner because they start huffing and puffing, not from a physical place, but from an emotional place that they don't want to endure the intensity, and they would walk out. It's too intense for them, so they got to go. And they would walk out of the classroom. So they go to a class that's not as intense, that doesn't challenge them as much, that doesn't create as much rubbing, as much friction. Now, of course, that's appropriate for certain body types, maybe too much muscle strength, they're not there yet. But you can really see it's not so much a physical reaction as an emotional reaction. Now, anybody as a teacher has seen this before, people that are just not willing to endure the intensity of the yoga practice. They're not there yet. They're not ready to become a practitioner of yoga. They're there for body maintenance. They thought the idea was that if you purchase a class and step in, then magical things happen on its own, right? Whatever it might be. But you could also see it from the opposite. The student who maybe is not so physically capable, but they're out of shape or whatever, but yet they stay in the intensity. They find a way to stay on the mat and strengthen their body, despite the fact that they're not flexible, despite the fact that they're not strong, that they're not in shape, whatever all the excuses that somebody else would make. It's not their physical disposition that guides them, but rather the mind. So the Yoga Sutras are trying to say that, hey, if you want to experience that state of stillness within, then you will have to endure the intensity of tapas. Tapas, that friction, that heat, that rubbing of trying to bring two things together. It's like, same thing if you want to be in a relationship, right? You have to, there's this idea that, coming together is going to create some sort of blissful joy for a lifetime. We get that as kids, right? Maybe in the fairy tales. And the reality is, anybody that's been in a long-term relationship or marriage, is that there isn't the closer you come together. In order to come closer together, you have to go through friction periods. You have to go through this tapas as a couple. You have to rub against one another's differences in order to unite as one. And then you get, again, another step closer is that friction. So a relationship requires that same tapas, and it could not, maybe it's not romantic, maybe it's a work relationship or a friendship. It all requires, if you want to come closer, the willingness to endure that intensity, that rubbing that creates the fire for transformation to occur. So one thing on the physical side, I just want to say before we get into this, is that your body is equipped with a stretch reflex. So your body knows when you're getting, when it's too much on the flexible end. There's a stretch sensation in your muscle. It's telling you, hey, that's too much. And if you say, oh, well, let me push myself further here because of tapas, then what happens is you get injured, okay? So when it comes to flexibility, the mind is usually on board with relaxing into a deeper stretch because it doesn't require effort to necessarily relax into something deeper. There's a weird twist there. But when it comes to strength, that's where the mind starts to give up. The body can hold on. It'll start shaking. It'll start feeling contracted. But there's no strength reflex that says, hey, this is too much. It just gets tired. And it's in that tiredness where the muscles break down. And in that breakdown is where they rebuild to get stronger. You see at the gym, anybody that goes to the gym, they do the last, the amateur gym goer will put the weights down when their muscles get tired. The bodybuilder who is designing their practice in order to build strength in the physical body, that's when their practice starts, when they get tired. Now it's time to do those 3 more reps. And they, grunt and they groan and they put all their effort in and their muscles are breaking down. But the next day, over the next 3 days, that muscle becomes stronger. And if they come back to that the next week, they'll probably be able to do more reps or more weight. That's how the muscular system works. The mind is the same way, okay? We have to kind of endure that intensity when the friction starts to get hot. That's when the fire is gonna ignite. We wanna stay with it. All right, so let's start all fours, hands and knees today. Grip your fingers into the ground. By the way, last practice, we got cut off. What happens is eventually I noticed, because I have a monitor over here, that we've gotten cut off, and I could come back to the camera and resume the session. And that's just something with the internet, I guess. I don't know why that happens. But with internet, sometimes you get drops in connectivity. So over the course of an hour and 15, hour and a half, it's likely to happen. Anyway, once I notice it, I go back and I click resume. It may not, however, just start on your screen. You might have to reload the player or the page and press play again and see if it comes up. It usually takes me about 5 minutes to recognize that it's happened, just because I'm a little delayed over here. Okay, so sorry about that. Arch the back, take a breath in. Exhale and round. Inhale, arch, look up. Exhale. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch, look up. Child's pose, exhale. We're gonna do circles with the arms. Go for a swim. So we'll start with the right arm, drag it back as you come forward. Big circle, open it up, stretch, long, long, long. Exhale and release. Second side, inhale. Long, 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 long. Exhale.
Right side, inhale. Exhale. Left side. Right side. Left. All fours, hands and knees.
Arch the back, tuck the toes. Exhale, down dog.
Take a few breaths here. Forward to plank pose, inhale.
Grip your fingers into the ground, pause. Round your upper back by pushing the shoulder blades apart. Exhale, knees down, lower chaturanga. Inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, release. One more. Inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, release. Inhale to all fours. Exhale, downward dog.
Right leg to the sun. Bend knee, open up the hip as you exhale. Just enjoy a full breath in and out. Straight legs, square hip. Knee to nose around the upper back. Pull the ribs in. Separate the shoulder blades. Inhale, back and up. Let's do it again. Exhale, warm up the core around the back. Inhale, back and up. Exhale. Inhale, back and up. Step forward. Left hand over to the left, right hand on the knee. Spin your right shoulder out and press your rib cage forward, chest forward as you do so. Okay, take your right hand behind the head. Firm up your legs, take a breath in, pull your hips higher. And curl your head and heart around your arm, look down at your hand. 2 more breaths. And release. Step into plank. Chaturanga. Today, let's try something a little bit different. Take your hands back a little and then wiggle your shoulders and ribs forward. And see, some of you will be able to do this, some of you it's not. Hands a little wider. Roll the shoulders back and see if you can come up to cobra, but pull your chest forward, okay? If that doesn't work, just go back to the way we normally come up, rounding and then coming up. Otherwise, kind of one fell swoop if possible. It's like pulling yourself through first and then over. Now, the major thing, try it one more time, is when you come, see I roll. When you come up, the tendency is to push with your hands so that your chest and your back kind of collide. It's actually a pulling with your hands. Your chest goes through your shoulders. You pull your heart forward. Okay, and then release. All fours, hands and knees. Exhale, down, up. Left leg to the sky. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Enjoy a breath in. Straight leg, square hip. Step forward. Oh, sorry, knee to the chest. Inhale, left leg backing up. Knee to chest, round. Inhale, backing up. Inhale. Step. Okay, take your right hand out to the right. Again, spin the right shoulder out and press your chest forward. Then take your left hand behind the head. The idea here is to keep pressing your heart forward. Side bend your left ribs up to the sky. Pull your feet toward each other. Breathe into your left waistline. One more breath. And release. Come to plank. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra pose.
Exhale, release.
All fours, hands and knees. Tuck the toes, exhale, down dog. All right, so I want to be clear that when I talk about tapas and this enduring the intensity of the yoga practice, I definitely do not mean enduring something that is causing pain by any means, okay? So be sure if you've got pain going on, you don't just endure pain. The discomfort tends to be more in the muscular system of strength and predominantly in the mind. We want to see when the mind gives up. That's where the yoga practice is really, the Yoga Sutras is not so much about asana. It doesn't even, it talks about it a little bit as a way to preserve the health of our body enough so that we can sit long enough to do the yogic practices in order to experience the state of samadhi, to get into that state of oneness. But it really doesn't talk about it in terms of doing like full wheel pose and things like that. It's mostly a practice for the mind. So we definitely don't want to endure pain. Okay, that's not the goal of our practice. Take the right leg to the sky. Step forward as you exhale. Let's place the hands on the front thigh. Come up, pause there. Press the ball mount of the back foot down into the ground so the back thigh lifts up. Press the heel of the front foot down into the ground so your hands get lighter. Lift the abdomen up to the sky and take your arms into a cactus shape. Retract your scapula, pull them together. Press the heart forward and up until you feel the belly of the abdominals start to lift and lengthen, okay? From that, press your heart forward, press your heart forward. As a result of pressing your heart forward, it starts to initiate a back bend, okay? Now reach the hands back. Take a full breath in, look up. Exhale, circle the arms, hands to the ground. Inhale, plank. Chaturanga. Cobra. Down dog. You can always do up dog as well. It's an option. Left leg to the sky. Step forward. Hands on the front leg. Pause. Okay, so we want to find that friction. Now the warm-up, of course, is just kind of like grabbing and finding the first two sticks. So we're not really in that tapa section yet. Some people maybe, but for the most part, the warm-up is designed in order to prepare us for the practice of rubbing the sticks together. Okay, pull your feet toward each other, but also press them down, both of them down and toward one another, like you're creating a big circular energy down to a point in between the two in the earth, pressing down and pulling toward. Now, from there, you'll feel stronger, more lifted, more light. Then come on up. The right rib cage in this case, because it's attached to the back hip, excuse me, let me adjust my, okay. The right rib cage will tend to drop down more. So you're gonna pull your right rib cage forward and up. Okay, so really lead with your right ribs when the right leg is back and left ribs when the left leg is back. Now take your arms into that cactus shape. Press the kidney band forward, 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 okay? Now lift the heart up, up, up. Take your arms in that cactus shape, pull them straight back, and then reach your hands back. Lift your heart up, lift your belly up. Press forward with the low abdominals, or middle abdominals, I should say. Okay, now, big lift. Rise up tall, look up. Exhale, release. Inhale, plank. Chaturanga. Cobra or up dog, your choice. Exhale, down dog. Let's enjoy a full breath in. And out. One more. Lift the heels up, inhale, look forward. Walk, step, hop to the front. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale and bow forward. Okay, feel free to soften your knees if you'd like. Take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Stretch the shoulders. Let's do a few more breaths. Release the hands to the hips. Arch the back, rise all the way up to stand. All right. Grab your strap. Hopefully you've got one nearby. Got my second wind strap here, nice and colorful and playful. I'm gonna grab it pretty wide actually. Let's go double shoulder width apart or so. And then just bring it up and overhead and pull the strap apart with your hands and then bend the elbows. Okay, pull it apart, bend the elbows. You'll feel as a result that you retract your scapula when you pull it apart, okay? And you bend your elbows. Then come back up and oops. And then again, bend the elbows, shoulder blades come toward each other, and then back up. Lift tall on the way up. Exhale, pull it down, shoulder blades toward each other. Inhale. Exhale. Keep pulling the strap apart so you warm up your muscles. And exhale. Okay, now attempt, as you're standing here while pulling the strap apart, your shoulder blades are toward each other, reach the arms back behind you the best you can. Okay, now this is a stretch, so be mindful. This is not where you want to endure. Yes, there will be a stretch sensation. It should be moderate. It should feel like, okay, you're in, it's 50%. You do feel a stretch, but you're not going crazy. You don't want to have to endure pain in the body. You want to endure the strengthening, the getting stronger. Okay, so pull the strap apart. If you need to, you keep your elbows bent, or you lift the arms up higher, or you widen the strap. You do want a stretch sensation to happen, but not too intense that it feels like it's dangerous. Okay, and release. Okay, place the strap aside. Inhale, reach, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Half lift, inhale. Step left foot back, exhale. High lunge, please, rise up. Open up warrior two now. Pause here, move the hips back and pull your feet toward each other.
Lift lightly in the midsection. With the hips pressed down into the feet, so there's this strength, this solidity. This is like kind of, abhyasa is that effortful attention to cultivating strength in the physical body, at least we're talking about in the physical body. So abhyasa in your physical body, press down and pull towards, so you get that strength and solidity. And then upon that foundation you create, lift lightly in the midsection. Take the arms out to the sides. Gaze over the front hand. I always like to think about the back of my head looking towards the back hand. And pressing the back of the head towards the back hand. That should, for most of you, depending on your flexibilities, it'll create probably a stretch underneath here, and that's okay too. That's a good thing. Okay, and flip the palms. Reverse warrior, inhale. Hold here as you exhale. Press your rib cage, slide it forward like we would do a back bend. You press the ribs forward. So side bend, lift the right ribs up, and the shoulder can come up too, and then reach it back. Inhale here. And exhale. One more. Exhale, hands to the ground, lean forward. Inhale to plank. Chaturanga. Cobra or upward dog, inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Full breath in. And full breath out. Right leg is coming to the sky. Inhale, lift it up. Step forward. High lunge, rise. Warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Hands to the ground, exhale, either side of the front foot. Pivot the back heel up. Step forward, inhale, half lift. Exhale, bow. To the sun, rise. Urdhva Hastasana. To the heart. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Half lift, inhale, Ardha. Right foot back, exhale. Push down into your feet, rise up, high lunge. Open up, Virabhadrasana 2. Okay, pause here. Again, solidify your foundation, press your feet down and pull them toward one another. You'll feel when you press the front heel down, hopefully you get your glute muscles to ignite, okay? I'd like you to target that sensation. Press down into the heel until you feel the buttocks activate here. Holding on to that, and then get lifted, get light, free up the rib cage from the hips. So lift the belly, lift the ribs up, and take the arms out to the sides. Take the head back towards the back hand. Turn. As the body begins to build some heat, we stay attentive to that which is ever present, the breath flowing through this body. For as long as we are in this human form, we have this breath flowing. It is a constant, though that constant is moving. One more breath here. Reverse warrior, inhale. Hold here as you exhale. Slide the rib cage forward, then lift the left ribs up. Keep pressing your front heel down. Lift up through the rib cage. One more breath. Exhale, release hands to the earth. Plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga. Cobra or upward dog, your choice. Exhale, down dog. One full breath in. And a breath out. Left leg to the sky.
Step forward. Push down, rise, high lunge. Open warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Pivot the back heel up. Inhale to step forward. Exhale, bow. To the sunrise, Urdhva Hastasana. Right to the earth as you exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Half lift, inhale. Chaturanga Dandasana. Cobra or up dog, inhale. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Right leg to the sun. Step forward, exhale. Push down, rise, high lunge. Open warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, side angle preparation. Forearm to the thigh, hand to the hip. Okay. Press your front heel down so you feel your glute muscles fire up. Turn the belly, turn the chest. Form a little bit of a back bend today. As you back bend, keep your hips back, and your chest kind of circles around. If you can, slide your right hand outside of the foot onto a block or onto your fingertips. Take your left hand behind your head. Now here's the tendency. Most people press the hips far forward. Keep the hips back and move the chest back by pressing your head back into your hand. Look more towards the front of the yoga mat or in front of your yoga mat. Take a full breath in. 2 more. 1 more. And release. Slide the back knee to the ground. Pivot the right foot out to the right. Turn the toes. With your left arm, spin the left shoulder out. Okay, then press your heart forward. Bend the back knee, reach for your thigh stretch. In this position here, the first step I recommend is pulling your 2 knees toward each other. That will start to activate the hips in order to get a little bit of a lift, a little rise. From that strength, also press your foot back into your hand, and your quads and your hip flexors are now active. Keep that activation. Hold on to it as you press your heart forward. Okay, keep pulling your back knee towards your front knee and your foot back into your hand. Option to go deeper, but you got to listen to your body. So when you go deeper, that's stretch, and stretch has a much higher, chance of creating an injury. So you want to go slow as you go into stretches, but maintain your strength. Strength of the physical body is also very synonymous with strength of the mind. If you can hold on to the actions in your body, you can usually hold your attention. It requires an attentiveness to hold on to muscle engagement. It does not require attentiveness to stretch, okay? So hold on to the attentiveness to your 2 knees pulling toward each other and your foot kicking back into your hands. Stay attentive. That will strengthen your skill of attention, which allows us to go deeper than the surface waves of the vrittis that the yogis are calling this rise and fall activity of the mind. Okay, release the thigh stretch. Step into plank pose, please. Inhale. Chaturanga. Cobra or upward dog. Exhale, down dog. Left side up to the sky, inhale. Step forward. High lunge, rise, inhale. Open warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Side angle preparation. Slide the thighs back so the seat is right in line with your feet. Okay, pull your feet toward each other. Keeping the pelvis from swaying forward, keeping it back, curl your heart around like a back bend. If possible, slide your left fingertips to the ground or the block. Keep your front heel pressing down so you feel your glutes fired up. Right hand behind the head, press the head back. Maybe potentially reaching the arm over your ear, just leaving it. Okay, so the idea is a little bit of a back bend. And again, it's very hard to maintain attention on our muscle activations and keep them strong. So can you continuously press your left heel down and pull your back foot forward while breathing? The mind has the capacity to stay attentive to the muscular layer while simultaneously intentionally moving breath through the physical form. One more breath. And release. Back knee comes down. Left foot over to the left, right hand to the right. Curl the heart. And in this position here, keep the chest pressed forward as you bend the back knee and reach for the foot. Okay, once you have the foot or your strap or whatever you got back there, find your breath and see if you can activate your muscles. So pull your two knees toward each other and your hips, your groin should lift. It'll make it easier on the stretch. It should, at least. But, of course, you have to attend to the continuous action of squeezing in and up. Now, press your foot gently into your hand. 10% of your effort. It's more about the constant, consistent 10% than it is to just like push your foot in your hand and release. Okay, so you can keep pressing your heart forward. And as you're pulling your knees toward each other and your foot into your hand, you might eventually feel that the stretch sensation diminishes. And that's your body's way of saying you can go a little bit deeper. But maintain strength. Maintain activity in the inner legs by pulling your knees toward each other. And of course, maintain the steadiness of your breath. Maintain muscle activation of pressing your foot back into your hand. Okay, and release. Together, step into plank. Inhale. Hips up, heart up. Exhale, chaturanga. Cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. All right, pause here for 3 breaths. Two more enjoyable breaths. Tapas is that friction, that intensity, that heat that comes from bringing two things together. Yoga is the practice of bringing two things together. In the Yoga Sutras, that is bringing this constant changing flux of the mind, the rise and the fall of what the yogis call the vrittis, bringing that in union with the stillness deep within, trying to release that ever, or at least control the outer world, not the outer world, sorry, our mind, the rise and fall of the images, the thoughts, the patterns inside the mind. Lift the heels up, inhale. Look forward, empty the breath out. Hopper step. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, bow. Wouldn't it be nice if we can control the outer world? That's not the case. Inhale, rise to the sun. And as a result, the mind tends to become a tumultuous place of rising and falling, chaotic place. And so the Yoga Sutras are suggesting that we gain control of that rise and fall in order to experience the stillness within. And along that path, take your strap, pull it apart. We'll experience this tapas, this burning. And that the Yoga Sutra is trying to tell us that this burning is a good thing. Okay, take the strap a little bit wider, pull it apart. Then we have the opportunity to transform, to change. As you pull it apart, you can start with bent elbows and then try to reach back and then come all the way back down. Now pull the strap apart as you come up and over. Now, if you find your shoulders do something wonky or your elbows are bending, first step is to widen the strap so it's not so narrow. Okay, second step is to, as you pull it apart, to like pull your shoulders up a little bit and retract them as you go, and you'll find greater range of motion there, okay? Pull the strap apart, let the shoulders go up when the strap goes up. So as you pull the strap apart, as it goes up, you pull it apart and you let the shoulders go up. So as you pull it apart, shoulders go up and over, okay? So that's to bypass the rib cage. That'll give them some more movement. Otherwise, if they're down too far, you can't go anywhere, okay? So like you're lifting up to the sky, your belly lifts, your abdominals lift, your rib cage lifts. You get tall as you go up and over, and you'll find greater range of motion. Okay, release the strap. Utkatasana, chair pose, bend the knees. Feet a little wider than usual, so outer hip width apart. Sit the hips back. Lift your bum up to the sky, so find that arch in your back. Lift the heart. Now take the arms into a cactus-like shape. I'd like you to press your heels outward, but also downward into the ground, as if you're trying to stand up, but don't allow yourself to stand up. Press the low ribs forward and up, so you're in a back bend, and take the arms up to the sky. Okay, now together as if we had the strap. Inhale, pull the shoulder blades together and pull the elbows toward one another back there, heart forward. Exhale, arms up. Again, inhale, pull heart forward, shoulder blades together, pull the strap apart, the imaginary one. And again, now I'm on the exhale, sorry. That's fine, inhale. Exhale. One more, inhale. Okay, now hold chair pose. Exhale the breath out. Sit a little lower, sit back a little high, a little more. Press the heels out. Lift the belly up, keep the back bend. 2 more breaths. One more breath. Exhale, bow forward. Halfway lift on the inhale. Step or hop, Chaturanga Dandasana. Cobra or upward dog, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward. High lunge, inhale. Warrior 2. Reverse warrior. Side angle pose, hands to the outside of the foot if you can. Arm goes up and over. Let's transition to reverse warrior. Inhale. Slow and steady. Exhale, side angle. Slow and steady like you're moving through water. Inhale. Exhale. Take the hands to the ground. Back knee comes down, hands to the front thigh, come up and pause. Anjaneyasana preparation. Hips forward, pull your 2 knees toward each other. Keeping that, take the hands, interlace them, Kali Mudra, index finger points to the sky. Wiggle the sides of the body and the shoulders up as tall as you can go. And now press the low ribs forward. It will send the hands back if you press the low ribs forward. Okay, now press the heart to the sky. As you pull your back knee towards the front knee, hips go up, heart to the sky, hands back, look up. Soften by leaning forward. Pull your 2 knees toward each other, lift the belly, lift the heart, lift the shoulders, lift the hands, reach back, and release by bending the elbows, hands to the ground. Inhale, plank pose. Chaturanga. Curl open, cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Left leg to the sky. Step forward. High lunge, rise. Open warrior 2. Reverse warrior, inhale. So now slow, lead with the hand, side angle. Lead with the right hand, reverse warrior. Long, steady breath. Exhale. Long, steady breath, inhale. Exhale. Both hands to the ground, back knee comes down. Hands on the front knee. Pause, we take a breath. Pull your back knee forward, lift the abdomen, lift the chest, and take your arms into Kali Mudra, hands interlace, index finger up to the sky. Now the tendency will be to just sink in this pose. I'd like you to pull your knees toward each other, press the front heel down, lift the belly, lift the chest, and take the hands back. Press the low ribs forward, heart to the sky, shoulders up, and then reach the hands back. Soften, lean forward. Okay, now pull your knees toward each other, lift the belly, lift the heart, lift the shoulders, reach back, lean forward to soften. Last round, pull your knees toward each other, lift belly, heart, shoulders, reach back, look up. Exhale, bend the elbows to release, lean forward. Inhale to plank. Chaturanga. Cobra or up dog on the in-breath. Down dog as you exhale. 3 breaths, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Lift the heels up on the in-breath, look forward. Empty it out, hop or step lightly. Half lift, inhale. Exhale and bow. Utkatasana, bend the knees, chair pose. And then take your hands, interlace them behind the back. Pull the shoulders up and back. Reach back behind you. Take your left foot, if possible, into your hands. Otherwise, just back like this. Okay, so kick the sky. If possible, into the hands, and then kick the foot back and up. Hold here, lift the heart. 2 more breaths. Press the heart forward. 1 more breath. And release, chair pose. Full breath in, hips back, lift the heart. Keep the chest lifted, back strong. 1 more breath. Interlace the hands behind the back. Again, either bringing the foot into the hands or more likely kicking to the sky like so, okay? Whichever you can grab. If you have the foot, you press your heart forward and kick the foot back. Keep the left knee bent, still in chair on the standing leg. Stay with your breath. Slow release. Now you might be feeling the top bus chair pose. That friction, that's where we start to get excited that the yoga practice is beginning to work, right? That rubbing of the friction together, uniting, creates that heat, that discomfort. As it's associated with the beginner practitioners, discomfort, oftentimes associated with pain, but it's not pain, it's just intensity, right? There's a difference between pain and intensity, and learning that difference is the work of the beginner yogi. Exhale, bow forward. Half lift, inhale. Chaturanga. Cobra or up dog, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky. Step forward. High lunge, inhale. Open warrior 2. Reverse warrior. Side angle pose. Back knee comes to the ground. Inhale, reach up. Anjaneyasana, soft one to begin. Interlace the hands. Bend the elbows for a moment. Hinge forward slightly. Pull your elbows towards the back body so your shoulder blades retract. Then reach the hands back behind you the best of your ability. Okay, now pull your back knee towards the front knee. Lift the hips up. Okay, that takes endurance. Lift the belly up, stretch it long, and now press the low heart forward in order to take the hands back. Heart forward, low heart forward, heart up to the sky, low back forward. Pull the hands apart, but keep them together. Isometrically, right? So take one more breath in, lift the hips up, lift the belly up, lift the heart up, hands back. Exhale, bend the elbows to release. Okay, inhale to plank. Chaturanga. Cobra or upward dog, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Left leg to the sky. You got this, step forward. Rise, high lunge. Open up, warrior two. Reverse. Side angle. Back, top hand to the ground, back knee down. Pull your feet or knees toward each other. Lift and interlace the hands. Bend the elbows so you can pull your shoulder blades toward each other. And then from there, you'll be able to keep the elbows back, keep the shoulder blades back. You'll be able to reach back further. But first, come to the foundation. Let's establish our abhyasa, our strong practice, our repetitive action that we're going to hold tight to. Pull your knees toward each other, lift the belly. Press the low back forward, ribs forward. Lift the heart up to the sky. Lift the shoulders up and reach back. Again, establish connection to your legs. Pull it in and up. Belly lifts and press forward with the low back. Heart up. Take the hands back. Again, pull your knees toward each other. Lift the heart up. Lift the belly up. Lift the chest up. Reach. Bend the elbows to release. Inhale to plank. Chaturanga. This time come all the way down. Take your right forearm to the front of the mat. Bend your knee. Thigh stretch. Ardha Bhekasana. Turn your belly back to the center, that is. One more full breath in. And release that thigh stretch. Switch sides. Turn your heart to the front. Okay. Let's do bow pose, Dhanurasana. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll bend your knees and establish lengthening in the abdominals as much as you can. So get long in the midsection and reach for your feet. Step one, soften a little bit with your energy. Step two, kick your feet back and up to the sky. Keep your shoulders back and lift a little to the ears. Now lift the heart up. Soften. Kick the feet back and up to the sky. Lift the heart up. Soften. Kick the feet back and up. And soften to release. Take a moment for breath. Shall we do it again? Okay, you get long in your midsection, as long as you can. Okay, bend the knees, reach for the feet. Now this pose is a lot about strengthening in the legs. The buttocks will kick the legs up to the sky. The quads will kick the legs, the feet back. And that's what gives you the lift in the chest predominantly, okay? So it takes a lot of strength of the buttocks and the quads. So you lift the feet up, the knees up. That's buttocks and hamstrings. Kick your feet back and let your shoulders go back, and that will start the opening of your chest. Okay, now gentle use of the back muscles to lift the heart up. It's less about the back muscles, more about the quads kicking back into your hands and the buttocks kicking your knees up to the sky. A lot less about the back muscles. And release. And for me personally, I feel my quads are what burn out first. Some of you might be the buttocks. Some of you might be compressing your back. And that's because you're not pressing your ribs and your heart forward, like I keep saying in Anjaneyasana, to pull the chest through. Shoulders go back, legs go back, but the chest, the low rib cage where your solar plexus is, presses forward. Like a bow, the center of the bow stays pressing forward as the archer pulls the string back. And this pose is conveniently called bow, so there you go. Okay, one last round. Bend the knees, reach for your feet. Establish a connection to your breath. Take a full breath in. Softness to start. Shoulders go up to the ears. Kick your feet back and up. Inhale, softly lift up with your knees, kick back. Soften with your heart and your breath. Your shoulders go up and back. Your feet kick back and up. Soften. Again, inhale, kick your feet back and up. Soften. And again, one more time. And release. So in the beginning, that pose might be more of a requires a lot of flexibility for you. And then as you gain flexibility, it requires tremendous amount of strength to endure it, to stay in it. Strength of the quads, really kicking your feet back. Strength of your buttocks, keeping your knees up. Yes, strength of the back, even though I'm saying soften that a bit. Strength of your rhomboids, keep your shoulders back. All while trying to breathe while your belly's on the ground. Your back is in a back bend. All right, come on up. Take the right shin when you're ready across the mat. Release the buttock muscles. Tuck the back toes and reach it back. I like to bow a little to the left. To me, that targets the hips a lot more. You also see that my back toes are tucked and my back thigh is turned in. I did just release a blog that was free, and it's about getting into pigeon pose with the back thigh turned in, the back hip turned in, and that turning in actually, why that makes a difference. When this hip turns in, the pelvis turns down, the thigh turns in, that pulls on the right hip muscles because the left hip, the left side of your pelvis is connected to the right through the sacrum and through ligaments there. But you actually, what happens is the right buttock attachment points, which is near the sacrum to the right hip, when you pull those away from each other, that's what stretching is. So by turning the left thigh and left hip down, you pull the attachment points of the right buttocks away from one another because the right hip is already established on the ground there, and you pull the left side where the sacrum attachment is away from the right hip. Okay, come on out. We switch sides. So you can see, if I could show you on this side here, that if my right hip and thigh open up, the attachment here at the sacral area and this attachment here are close together, okay? But if I turn the right hip in, it pulls this sacrum away from this hip attachment, making that a longer, deeper stretch. So that's what I was talking about a little bit in there. Now, it might be too much for some of you, and that's that's also okay. I'm not saying that you have to stretch deeper. I'm just saying that it is a deeper stretch, and that might be what you're going for in the hips. And if so, then this is a way. Now, of course, always being mindful, overstretching is a very easy way to lead to injury. It's not the purpose of stretching deeper. So it really depends. It takes time and practice to that repetition, abhyasa, repetitive, intentional, effortful practice to understand what is appropriate and what is not for your body. I'm here to provide an understanding for you of what you can and cannot do, or what you should or shouldn't do, or whatever, but that doesn't mean, let me put that differently, I can provide you what you can and cannot do, and you have to discover what you should and should not do. That's a better way of saying it. And that's only through attention, cultivating attention of the mind. Nirodha is ceasing the fluctuations of the vritti, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. When the fluctuations of the mind, when the mind stuff, the waves of the mind, the rise and fall of the images, reactions, memories, the projections of the future. Okay, when the mind stuff is ceased, then the uniting of Prakriti and Purusha, of the change and the changeless, and the form and the formless, the uniting of these two energies that is who we are, can occur. Okay, come on out. Let's come into a seated position of your choosing. I'm going to choose a block for today. This is our final meditation of our time this month together. Now, the thing about meditation is, just like the physical practice, it's like a muscle. Our attention is cultivated through repetition, abhyasa. Okay, and abhyasa, this repetition, this sort of rigorous showing up for yourself, is required in order to achieve that friction that eventually leads to the ignition of the fire. And that fire leads to the experience of stillness within. Yogis call it samadhi, that place of oneness, that place of nothingness. We do have the capacity, as told by the Yoga Sutras, to experience that, to experience the oneness and connectivity. And most easily when we're in the state of sattva, the state of equanimity and balance, which you might feel depending on your patterns of mind and body. After this practice, you might feel, if you just sit here for a moment and sit up tall with minimal effort to do so, if you feel the sensations of your body, you might start to feel that buzzing. If you observe your thoughts, it might be hard to even catch one. You might not be able to even see a thought because they have become a little bit more stilled, a little less of a rise and a fall. The surface has relaxed due to the focusing of our attention. So this is called a state of sattva, a state of equanimity and balance, and it is a state for which we have the greatest opportunity to go deeper inward, to experience the changelessness, formlessness, the stillness within. Establish a very light ujjayi breath. That's the gentle whisper in and out through the nose. I'll create a few louder ones. You've heard me do it throughout the whole practice.
So that's a gentle closure of the throat muscles, just enough to let air pass through, but be able to control the movement of the air. I suggest a very soft variation of this if possible, which takes time and practice as well to be soft about it. And any time that your mind gets wrapped up in a thought, you just come back to the awareness of your breath pulsing through you, feeling it, and letting the mind settle into it. To go inward to that stillness. Focus on the serenity of your state of being right now. There's a buzzing in the palms potentially. Maybe a gentle sway of the physical body, or a rocking, like gentle movement of the ocean, like a ship on top of the soft waters. Stilling the mind through attention and diving below the surface to the depths of stillness within. So when a thought arises, recognize it as a wave, just a ripple on the shore, and take your attention back below the surface, where it is still, unchanging, unwavering. When thoughts arise or emotions come up, recognize them as natural. They are the normal movement on the field of consciousness that is always rising and falling. And you have the power of attention within you to go below the surface into the calm stillness within. Come back slowly to your breath. Deepen your breath. Awaken slowly the fingers and toes. Bring the palms together and create some friction and heat between them. Place the palms over the eyes. Enjoy a breath in. Lengthen palms. Hands over the heart. Again. Hands over the belly. Awaken the legs. Be sure to connect to your feet. Place the hands at the heart. A symbol of uniting right here with the right and the left side of our body. Synonymous with this two sides of ourself, this Purusha and Prakriti, the form and formlessness, change and changelessness, limited and limitlessness. Thank you for your efforts in cultivating your attention and bringing the two sides together, yoga uniting. Thank you for looking for the stillness today. Namaste. All right. Hope you enjoyed your practice at tapas today and looking for the stillness within. I look forward to sharing one more class with you in this month of November for the spinal reset. And then we will be doing hips, heart, and handstands for the month of December, the holiday month. And I look forward to sharing that with you. I know a bunch of you have signed up. I appreciate that. I'm very much looking forward to sharing that immersion with you. And I believe the last class for this month is on Sunday. So if you're watching this live, I don't think we have class on this Friday. I'll check the calendar on the website, but I'm pretty sure it's Sunday is the last class to avoid the whole Black Friday thing. All right, everyone. See you on the next one and the last one, and then hope to have you for the month of December to explore heart openers, hip openers, and handstands. Take care.